Today's guest trained as a structural engineer in Hungary and then changed her career to become an interior designer. Let's find out how she changed career and how she managed to set up a business and make it really successful. Welcome to the Hubcast, brought to you by the Interior Designers Hub, where we help and support interior designers to get trained, get into the industry, and to grow wildly successful businesses. If you want to work in the field you love, create the lifestyle you desire, and make the money you truly deserve, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Kate Hatherall. Let's get into it.
I am super excited to be interviewing Aggie Agocs today. Hi, Aggie.
Hi, Kate. How are you? Nice to be here
I'm
as well.
very well, thank you. Thank you very much for joining the Hubcast today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So can you tell us a little bit about your business? You're already an interior designer. So what sort of design do you do? Where are you?
Yeah, so I am based just outside North London now. We just last year we bought a little house with my partner, so I moved out of London, but I still kind of covering the North London area and Hertfordshire. I have been in business the second time in interior design since 2020, and I mostly design and manage full renovations in contemporary minimal soft industrial style. So
Amazing.
I have a different profession too before that, but I did qualify as an interior designer back in 2010. And I kind of started picking up clients back home in Hungary. But then I moved to London in 2013, and that was just not even in the picture. I didn't know anyone, so it was easy to get a job in my original profession as a structural engineer, construction commercial manager. And then I just forgot about it until 2020, I guess.
Okay,
Yeah,
so talk me through kind of how that whole journey sort of worked. So when you kind of became an adult, did you go and study the structural engineering, or was there some stuff that you did before that? Talk us through kind of the chronology of it.
Yeah, so after high school, which we finished around the age of 18, I went to university and I got a master's degree in structural engineering. Now, as much as I loved uni and I actually still do love this profession, it was kind of suggesting by my grandmother. So she probably saw something I didn't at the time that I would enjoy that. So it was kind of her idea that I go to this architecture, civil engineering route. So I finished my master's degree in 5 years, but I was already working full time in construction. And I carried on working in construction basically up to 2 years ago. So even when I had a little gap year in 2010, my first kind of burnout, that's when I enrolled into this interior design course, which was, I just thought, always like that's such a cool thing, but I never actually thought of getting a qualification. So this time, taking some break from my profession, I enrolled into a course and I completed. It was very different back then, I must say. It was very, very different. And I was just lucky to have some clients, but they were more like a paid hobby. I wasn't really doing it in a business setup, and I didn't even think of how to set up a business around interior design. Yeah.
And so it sounds as though you've had a passion for interior design for quite a long time. So what was the trigger for you to say, right, now I'm going to go for it?
This is a very interesting question, because I think the love for interior design in the first place was probably coming from a place where I grew up with my father, and our living conditions were not very ideal, not just because of the lack of a woman in the house, but just like generally as well. We were not like we're not like poor, but there was just no mean of having a beautiful home. And I just remember from very early on, like 6 year old, I can remember back, I was always dreaming about a beautiful house,
Oh.
beautiful family and all that. And when I first got married, I was kind of like planning for a baby and all that. And that's when it hit me that I need to be a bit more free from employment, and I just want to be in control in my time and in my
Mhm,
life a little bit more. And
mhm.
it was actually a result of quite a long thinking process, should I say, in which period I didn't come up with anything, but then it was just like this. And then oh, why not interior design when I have loved it so much and so for so long? So yeah, this is what just kind of like just a sign at the time to go
Amazing.
and pursue that. Yeah.
So how did you pursue it? What were, how did you put things in place? What did you actually do to move from structural engineering into being interior design? Obviously, you already had your qualification from years before, but how did you then get started with your business?
Yeah, so the first time around, it was just pure luck, really. I was telling friends and family that I have just completed this. The internet, there was probably not even Instagram at the time, I don't know. So a friend contacted me with some of his contact was looking for an interior designer, and it was just rolling on and on from that point. Like their friends also contacted me, and then their friends and their friends. But while the second time I couldn't actually, I couldn't have done it without the hub, because I did start in 2019 thinking about, okay, so now that I'm a bit more settled, like physically and like legally as well in the country, I knew more people. Obviously, I had my work connections and more friends as well. So I remember I started by buying my domain for my website, and I started doing my website, and then I set up my Instagram, and then I was like trying with these was that bark.com and things like that, but
Yep.
I had absolutely no direction either
Hmm.
time, not the first time and not even second time, even though I was
Yep.
much older and much more experienced. But I didn't actually know what I was doing at all.
Yeah. But nobody teaches us this stuff, right? It's not as if
Not
they
really.
teach you how to set up a business in school or even in design school. These things aren't really taught.
And by, even though I already got a second master's degree in business later on, and in 2017, and then that's also wasn't helpful in this particular situation. So
There's a real
um,
difference, isn't there, between setting up a business, a
absolutely.
small business, and studying business. It's kind of they're different beasts.
I mean, that business roadmap, your business roadmap, I do believe it would be kind of applicable to a whole range of businesses, to be honest. I
Yeah.
find it very, yeah, there are lots of things that you can use in other setting up other businesses as well. But But even in this business school, which was specifically for people who already had master's degrees in other professions, they don't actually tell you how to set up. They more tell you about how to run a business and cash flow and accounting and all sorts of things,
Yes.
but finances, but not actually setting up a business. So, and since then, I have done so many courses, I can't even tell you, but there were bits of it that was very similar to some part of the your roadmap, but none of them actually tells you how to set up a business like this.
Exactly. So when you joined the hub, you then had access to the roadmap and then all of the trainings that went alongside that. So how did that help you to get your business going?
So that massively helped me, and I think my first touch point with the hub was actually the pricing challenge.
Yeah.
And then that just I don't know if we had to join to any Facebook groups at that point or something like that, but I know that after that, within weeks, there was the design challenge, which you are about to run again, or is it running already?
Yes.
This
Yeah. We've
this
got one
week.
running at the
Oh, I
moment. Yeah.
love that one. Absolutely love that one. And that was more like a little bit, because there were some little videos, you talking to us on the pricing challenge as well. But doing the design challenge was just like a reinforcing of like how you work and what kind of person you are, and support from your team as well. So I did that, and I think somehow that's what made me go on the website, and the short version of the roadmap was one of the free resources at the time.
Yeah.
And that was like, yeah, I need that one.
This
Whatever
is what
is
I
in
need.
there, that
Yeah.
was something like, it was already super helpful, and the what not to do at this stage was almost even more helpful than the what to do at this stage. And that's when I actually joined the hub. Like this whole little journey that I described was probably the matter of 2-3 weeks, and then in early January 2020, I was already a hub insider. The actual trainings around the business setup, that's something I still go back again and again.
Yeah.
I probably did tell this to one of the ladies, the new ones in the group, in the Facebook group, because the first time around I worked it through, but I was in a very different situation. I was still in my full-time job, so that was very limited what I could do with my business. The second time around, which was a year ago, I was again in a different situation because I quit my job, which wouldn't have been possible if I didn't do the first round
Yeah.
with the business setup. And then now I'm planning to go back again, especially to the ideal client, and the packages and what I'm offering, because I'm going to have a baby soon, so I
Oh,
can't possibly carry
congratulations.
on. Thank you. The way I set up myself this time last year, I can't do that, obviously. So I
Yeah.
need to just tweak it a little bit. So I think that's a really good resource in the membership for sure. And I think I was actually thinking whether I should or I shouldn't revisit this often, but I decided if it's needed to be revisited, then just do it. There's no big
Absolutely.
deal. I had to change anyway,
I think
so
businesses change and businesses evolve, and all of those sort of foundational pieces of work that you do that say this is how I want my business to be, that can be a great starting point. But actually, things can change, and your life circumstances can change as they have with you, and it's okay to go back and to revisit things and to plan things differently than you did before.
yeah, as well as as you said, as the business evolves, and we probably get in touch with more and more people, and we realize, oh, I probably don't want to work with this kind of clientele, and I actually much prefer working in a different way. So it's especially in the first few years, I think it changes a lot, but it's very important to have something to always come back in the hub and just rewatch the mini trainings. I don't always rewatch all of it, but there are certain lessons that I have watched quite a few times, just as a reminder as well.
Amazing. So you've got your business up and running. You're going to do a bit of reworking of it as you prepare for your new baby. And it sounds as though, you know, you're kind of in a good place doing something that you really enjoy and love.
Yeah, absolutely. It's totally life changing, and I have to be very grateful for two things, or some of them are, well, people. One is certainly the hub, and then and particularly this business roadmap, but also the community in the Facebook. Even though I haven't been very active in the past month because I was just taking a break, but that's priceless. And you know, when there's this lesson about the imposter syndrome, I think it's massively helpful to avoid that as well. I know that it can be the other way around a little bit, because some of the designers are just amazing, and then you might think, oh, I can't do that. But at the same time, when you compare yourself, it's like, oh yeah, I can actually do that, and she is running a successful business, I can absolutely do this. So that's all fine. So, but also it's just a fun environment to be as well. And then obviously my partner is very supportive. He's allowing me to pursue my dream. I didn't have to make any kind of sort of deal with him, is like in terms of how long we can go on like this. He just said his only condition was just not to give up. So that's not an option. Now I've started. Obviously, it's quite hard at the beginning. I'm not quite hitting all the goals that I would love to, but at the same time, I set probably too big a goals as well. So,
Absolutely.
so
And you feel your way through it as well, don't you? And sometimes you have to
yeah.
adjust expectations of how it's going to be. But I'm so pleased for you, and so pleased that you're really, you know, you found your thing and that you're really enjoying it. If there was some advice that you could give either your younger self or somebody starting out now, what advice would you give?
For my youngest self, I probably, yeah, this is hard. This is hard. I think for someone who starts now, I would certainly suggest that they start within a design firm first to get a bit more confidence, but with a deadline for actually moving on and do it by themselves. The sooner the better, I think. I have been interested in joining a design firm as well when I decided to pursue this again. But to be honest, the salaries they pay is totally not worth the effort that the designers have to put in. So I would certainly encourage people to go solo or build their own business, and even just like a one-person business or with a small team that I'm planning. I'm not planning on a big firm at all. Yeah. So just to, because in a more protective environment, which a design firm can give you, it's easier to learn and thrive because it's safer, but then you have to get out and do your own thing because it becomes very restrictive very soon.
Amazing. Okay, thank you so much. It's really interesting to hear your journey and to see how you've got where you are today. Aggie, are you happy to play a game of designer
Yeah,
this or that to round off our session?
yeah, I'm very excited. That sounds like
Amazing.
fun.
It is. It's going to be fun.
It might be
Okay,
very
so I'm going to put,
surprising what I will say.
I think sometimes people are surprised by their answers, I have to say.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to put a minute on the clock and then I'm going to give you some different options and you just need to choose which is your favorite. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Coordinated or eclectic?
Eclectic.
Brass or chrome?
Brass.
Farrow and ball or little green?
Oh my God, little green.
Little green, okay. Art Deco or pop art?
Art Deco.
Floral or plain?
Plain.
Symmetrical or asymmetrical?
Asymmetrical.
New or recycled?
Recycled.
Leather or vegan?
Leather.
Brand paints or colour matched paints?
Brand paints.
Faux plants or real plants?
Real plants all the way.
Plumping cushions or karate chopping cushions?
Plumping then karate.
Both, I'm not sure that's allowed. Okay, we are out of time. Aggie, thank you so much for playing designer this or that with me today.
Thank you very much. Good questions, by the
And
way. I thought they were
brilliant.
easier. They were not that easy.
It's not easy when you're on the spot, is it? Definitely not. Aggie, thank you so much for joining me here today on the Hubcast and sharing your journey into interior design. And we wish you all of the success for the future, not just for the business, but with the baby as well. And yeah, thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you very much, Kate, for inviting me today.
Thank you for tuning into Hubcast by the Interior Designers Hub. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please take a screenshot and share it to Facebook, Instagram, or your favourite social media channel. Make sure to tag me in at Interior Designers Hub and let me know what you enjoyed about this episode. I reply to each and every comment. I'd also like to offer you an incredible free gift, which is going to show you the exact roadmap that you need to take to become a wildly successful interior designer. It shares our secrets to business success. If you'd like to get your hands on that, head on over to interiordesignershub.co.uk/roadmap right now. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.